Hi, everybody. Welcome to Build a Quilt. I'm Diana. Thanks so much for joining me today. This is a special video about our year-end quilt along that's coming, and I'm really ready for it. We had our first frost last night, and we're supposed to have frost again this evening. And so yesterday I had to make sure like everything was out into the greenhouse. Nothing was still out in the garden that I didn't want out there. And we had frost last night, and we're supposed to have even like a deeper frost tonight. So um, I am ready to get this year-end quilt along going because I'm ready to snuggle under some new quilts this year. So this particular video is all about the planning, the information part. We're going to talk about fabric. I'm going to show you the diagram of the quilt that is mocked up in the fabrics that we're going to use. Now, let me just say from the beginning, you can use any fabrics you want. In fact, I even have a second mock-up in a whole different color range for you, okay? This year's quilt is called Star Chart. And you'll see why when I show it to you. And you guys know that I totally love looking at the night sky and watching the stars and all that. And star quilts are just like one of my favorites. They're like the queens of all quilts, in my opinion. So the first thing, let me show you the diagram and how it's made up. And then we'll talk about the fabric. Then I'll show you the alternate. And there is a download at our website, which is www.mybuildaquilt.com, where you can download this, okay? And what it's going to do is give you all the information you need. In fact, we'll even go over it here in a little bit as well. But let's flip over the camera and let's take a look. This is our quilt. Now, this year's quilt along is not going to be a huge quilt. It is only going to be 40 by 40. But I think that's kind of a sweet spot for a quilt, especially at the end of the year when you might not have a great amount of time because the holidays are coming and that sort of thing. It's a great size for a nursery quilt. If you have new parents in your family, or you have friends that are going to be new parents, or you're going to be a new parent, and you're making a beautiful little nursery nesty area for the new baby and mom and dad and any siblings to kind of be there to cuddle where the baby's going to sleep and all of that, this would be beautiful for a nursery. And I apologize if you keep hearing that beeping noise. I am going to turn that completely down. I apologize. And if you hear a noise sounding like an aircraft is taking off, we have a fan in our hallway. We're trying to dry out. We're almost there on a wet floor. So I apologize if there's a little background noise. But this is a great size for a nursery. It's also a great lap size. If you're someone that likes to sit in the chair, especially if you're someone that likes to sit on the sofa or the chair and you like to cuddle your legs up underneath you, a 40 by 40 is a great size for that. But the reason I designed it and the way I intend to use it is as a wall quilt. If you're like me, you might have just this one little piece of wall in your house that's always dying to have something on there because it's just this blank space. And we have that in spades in our house because we have some vaulted ceilings in our living room and family room area. And so there's this big piece of wall above the doorway that needs something hung there. And so 40 by 40 is a sweet spot for that size of a wall quilt as well. But as you can see, Star Chart starts out with a beautiful 8-pointed star in the center, and then it goes outwards into all these other stars. Thus the chart started. So say our sun is this one, and then you can move out to other star systems. That's just how I think. But that is our quilt along for this year, the Star Chart. And I'm going to be showing you the alternate color version because, like I said, you could do this in any colors that you want. You could even do this if you truly wanted a holiday colored quilt. You could sure do it in that as well. But let's talk about now this information packet so you know what's coming in it. So your first page obviously is your telling you what it is. This is the information page. And then you get a full page of just general information, things that you need. A 5x7 hoop is all you need for your machine. I tell you what type of thread works best for the piecing. I also tell you about what type of stabilizer to use in your hoop. And I recommend that you only use an inexpensive wash away. That way you don't have stabilizer staying in your quilt. It doesn't add any kind of weight. It doesn't add bulk to your seams. All that type of information is right there. And then you got your own star chart diagram so that you can see the quilt in full, in color, especially if you want to do it in different colors, because the next sheet that you're going to get is the color swatch sheet, the fabric swatches. So each one of these are swatches of the actual fabrics that I've used in the quilt. But what I tell you on here is you're going to need a dark fabric and a certain amount. But then I tell you sample quilt and what exact fabric I used. And I did that for all four. You're only going to need four fabrics, and you don't even need 4 full yards. It's more like 1, 2, it's like 3.5 yards total to do the front, basically. All that information is right there. And then the next sheet, so before we go on to the next sheet, so if you have this with you and you have this with you and you go to your local fabric shop, you can ask for these specific fabrics. Or if you want to do a different colorway, or you want to still do it in the blues, but you want it to be done in something that is not the fabrics I've chosen, then you can see what you need and you can kind of look at the quilt and kind of see where that's going to land in the quilt. Make sure you think you're going to like it that way. And then the next sheet is the information sheet about the quilt along. So let's go over that, and then we'll go over the fabric, and then we'll be done with the information part of this video for the quilt along. So on the information sheet, I just tell you right up front, please have your fabrics ready by week 1. Go ahead and choose them and get them ready. So if you like to pre-wash fabrics and things like that, go ahead and do that and have that ready, because this quilt along is going to move rather quickly. It's only going to be 4 weeks, but this, as you saw, is not a huge quilt, and it's not a complicated quilt by any means. But if you still on week 1 are having to pre-wash, if you do that and choose fabrics and stuff like that, then you're going to be farther behind. Now, if you can't, that's understandable. Of course, you can do this quilt at your own leisurely pace. I'm just going through it over the 4 weeks. And if you want to do it with me, it's going to be 4 weeks. My idea is that while people are watching football on Thanksgiving and doing other stuff, I'm going to be here in the studio, and I'm going to be putting my binding on this quilt. So it tells you that every video in each of the 4 weeks will come out at noon Central Standard Time. That's where I live, here in the eastern part of north central Illinois. It's kind of complicated. I live just south of Chicago, but really close to Indiana. So every video will come out at noon, and then it gives you the dates and what we're going to do on those dates, okay? And then it gives you here information about Q&As, that sort of thing. All of that is right on here. And so this is a download. It's a free download. Go grab it. Read through it, because it might help you, inform you to whether or not you're ready to do it now, or if you just want to get the pattern when the pattern comes out and the digital files, and do it at your leisure, because these videos will stay available and the pattern will stay up on the website at least for 6 months, if not longer, okay? So that is the information packet. This part is a free download so that you can decide and get started. The pattern with the digital files in it is going to be $11.95, and that's the only charge you're going to have from Build a Quilt for this, is to buy the pattern with the digital files. Did I say 99? $11.95. That's going to be the cost of the full pattern. But this part is free download so that you can decide what you would like to do fabric wise, and if you want to join us. Now, I want to come back to our fabric page because I want to talk to you about the fabrics I've chosen. The 4 fabrics I've chosen are from Kimberbell. A couple of them are from her Star Spangled line, and a couple of them are Kimberbell Basics. And I have to say, I love Kimberbell Basics. I keep a tub of them, of fat quarters in that line at all times here in the studio, and I use them a lot. And the reason is they go with so many things. I've mixed and matched them sometimes with my Kimberbell things, sometimes with my coriander quilt fabrics that I get. So I really love them, and I love the small prints. I'm somebody who's not wild about using solids for myself. I mean, I design in them because sometimes you have to, right? But when I make my samples, a lot of times I'll use something like a Moda Grunge or this first fabric from Kimberbell that we're going to talk about. And that is this one. This is called Make Yourself at Home Deep Navy Linen. All this information is in the download, but that's what that's called. And you can see it is not an actual solid. It's got this print on it that makes it look like it's a linen weave, and it really looks beautiful. It ends up being basically our background fabric, the darkest dark on the quilt. Then the second one, and I'm not going to tell you yardage and all because that's all in the download. The second one we're calling a medium dark. It's still really dark. In fact, if I had not chosen this one, I would have just called this a dark. But the reason I'm calling it medium dark and that it fits that bill for the quilt is because it has a print on it. It has pinks and reds and other light blues and whites. And this one is called the Kimberbell Star Spangled Navy Bouquet. That's that one. Isn't it lovely? Now, I just got these fabrics, I will tell you, this week, because I know the Star Spangled, I think it's been out for a little while. This one, the Make Yourself at Home, I'm pretty sure you can find it pretty easily. But I purchased my fabrics through the Fat Quarter Shop. I don't have fabric shops near me. It's like 2 hours away to the nearest one. So I only get to them like a couple times a year and stock up. But when I buy my fabrics, I know there are certain online fabric stores where I can be assured of the quality. I know that they will carry the brand, the manufacturer and the designer of the fabric that I want. And I know that Fat Quarter Shop carried these Kimberbell fabrics. So I went to them to order these, and I didn't buy everything they had. So if you're looking for them and you can't get them at a local shop, you could check out Fat Quarter Shop. You could check out my girlfriend's quilt shop. You could check out, of course, Missouri Star, anything, but look at your local shops first. If they carry Maywood Studio fabrics, then if they don't have it, they should maybe be able to get these for you. But this one again is this one is Star Spangled Navy Bouquet. And this one is this part and this part of the quilt. So I'm calling it a medium navy. So if you get this and it isn't a print, if you get something that isn't a print, you want something that technically is a little bit lighter, not a lot lighter, a little bit lighter, like just a subtle lighter than your darkest fabric, okay? Now, the next one is what we're calling on our fabric sheet, our swatch sheet, the medium color. And it is a Kimberbell Basic Blue Tufted Star. Can I tell you that the Tufted Star range, I have every single color, and I've got at least 2 or 3 yards of each one of them. I adore this fabric and use it all the time. This one is Kimberbell Basics Blue Tufted Star. Isn't that pretty? I just love this. I think for me personally, this is one of the best fabrics Kimberbell has ever come out with. I use it over and over and over and over again in so many of my designs and so many of my quilts. And so in our quilt picture, it is what you see here in the center and all the star points are in the blue tufted star, but the basic. And then we have one more, and it is a Kimberbell Basics called Blue Dots. And it has a white background and a very light blue dot. Now, there might be one like this that has a beautiful aqua dot on it. That's not the one. You need to make sure it says blue dot. You all who sew with us a lot know that I love the aquas, but this time this is the actual blue. It's called Kimberbell Basics Blue Dots, and it has the white background, and that one makes up all the white area that you see in our quilts and in the quilt. So that is our 4 fabrics right here. Dark, the medium dark, the medium, and the light. And so all the information about what these are called and how much you need is on this swatch sheet. And then if you are going to choose like different navies, you can kind of see what those fabrics look like and kind of make sure that the fabrics you're choosing fall in that line for value, the color value, okay? All righty. So let me show you the alternate mock-up that I did of our quilt. And I almost did it. I almost decided to do it in this color. And then I said, no, I'm going to go ahead and do it because a star chart to me needs to be done in navies and blues. But I did it in this kind of rosy pink colors, this mock-up. And now these aren't fabrics. These are just colors. This is just a color diagram, but I love it in these colors. So if navies is not your thing, this would be my next beautiful color idea. Now, if I were going to do this in holiday colors, I would choose either red or green, in a dark red or green for my dark background. For my medium dark, I would choose a mid-range red or green. For my medium, I might choose, because they're the star points, maybe a Christmassy gold. And then maybe a cream for the light, something like that could be beautiful if you wanted to do it as a Christmas quilt. But that is the alternate color mock-up. And then this is the one that we'll be making in the beautiful navies. Like I said, feel free to do it in any colors that you like. And if you have a hard time deciding your colors and you want some help, feel free to contact me at support@sewuncommon.com. If you have photographs or can take photographs of the fabrics you're thinking about using, send me those and I can help you look at them and make sure that they're going to fit like within our layout here. But be brave. Be confident. I know that you have it within you to choose the fabrics that you want to use if you're not going to use the ones from the Quilt Along. Okay, everybody, that's our information session. I should actually, did I tell you that? I didn't tell you the dates. I told you that they were on here. Let's just do the dates real quick. So our Quilt Along begins November 4th. That's a Tuesday. Then November 11th, that's the following Tuesday. November 18th, that's the 3rd Tuesday. November 25th is the 4th Tuesday, and that's like 2 days. That's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I know, but by the time we're at that date, all we're doing is putting 4 blocks together to finish the layout. That's all you're doing. So it's going to be really simple. I have faith that you can get it done. But if you can't, like I said, don't beat yourself up. Go ahead, buy your pattern, get your fabrics when you like. Make sure that you've tagged all the videos so that you can go back and watch them when you're ready. I will do a little playlist that just says Build a Quilt Star Chart Quilt Along. So all those videos will always be in that playlist for you. And then you can make it whenever you like. And I am always available to help you out if you need help along the way, no matter if you're doing it at the same time we are or if you're doing it a year from now. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. for the Star Chart Quilt Along info session. And as I tell you, every time we finish our time together as quilters, we are artists. We make the world a beautiful place. So let's all go out and quilt life beautiful. Bye for now, everybody.